Hey guys, Max here. I've been renting out rooms in my house for about 5 years now. 100% rent paid. Not always on time, but always paid. Here are the most egregious 5 red flags that I've seen when screening tenants. So here is how to rent your room, and here are the 5 red flags to check out when you're screening tenants over the phone. And I preface this with this. You always start with the phone call. Forget the texting, forget the email, forget in-person's meeting quite yet. You always start with the phone call so you can hear the person's voice. How are they a real person first off, or are they a scam? You want to make sure they're a real person. And you want them to be able to articulate their answers. If they can't articulate the answers, they're probably trying to pull over something on you. So always start with the phone call, and then if you progress to the next stage, then you can meet them. But always start with the phone call. Text messages just simply do not work. I always say call, do not text, because you want to be able to hear the person. If you're going to live with this person, you want to hear their voice. You don't want to hear their text message voice because you have no idea what they're saying via text message. So phone call. The first question I always ask is, tell me about yourself and what's happening in life. You start with this just to get a garner and a sense of who they are, what they're doing with life, the basics. If they can't answer this, you're in big trouble. And my red flag number one is if they have a bunch of issues going on in life, if they have a bunch of huge diabolical things that are happening in their life, not to say that's going to carry into your house, but a lot of times I've realized when I screen someone, if I let them move in, all these issues follow them into my house. And if I can have fewer issues in my life, I'm going to do it. So if they have a ton of issues happening in life, a ton of you can tell the kind of person who has a story for everything, that kind of person. If they're that kind of person, they may bring those issues into your house, which I'm not a fan of and you probably aren't a fan of. So if they have big issues, they may bring them to your house. That's red flag number one. Next question. Can they pay? I mean, the reality is this. If they can't pay, they're not going to be a good tenant. Always figure out, do they have the first month's rent and the first month's deposit ready? First month's rent plus first month's deposit, do they have it ready? Add those two together. If they don't have that ready, now if they do have it ready, great. What's their job and career? How long have they worked there? Can they prove it? Obviously, you want to see pay stubs or bank statements. And my red flag number two is if they balk at any of these questions, if they're leery to give you any information about this, I have not rented to someone who's balked at these questions simply because I need them to be ready financially. If they're not ready financially, they're not the right person. So if they balk at any of these questions, that's red flag number two. Probably not the right person. I don't expect anyone to pay my bills in life, so I should not be expected to pay anyone else's bills. If they can't pay or if they balk at anything, no. Third question, why are they moving? Is their lease up? They like the ad? It's a better area? Those are all really good responses. Now, if they have things like, I recently broke up with my significant other, I hate my parents, I'm being evicted, any other drama, I would ask more questions. It's not a total denial, but ask more questions. What's actually happening? And again, go back a couple. If they have a huge story about everything, that's a tough one. The people who have been storytellers have never been good tenants. I've only had to kick one person out, thankfully, and it wasn't because he was that for a different reason. The reason they have stories, though, is probably because there's more to the story, which always means the more evidence you find, this might not be the right person. And what I really want to hear is there's minimal problems on the outside of the house, so that means if there's minimal problems on the outside, then there's probably going to be minimal problems on the inside as well. They usually coincide together. Fewer problems outside, fewer problems inside. So if you have a lot of issues, they're probably going to come to your house. So avoid that if possible. That's red flag number three. If they are moving from a bad situation, they may bring that bad situation into your house, which you don't want to deal with. That's their problem. If you guys are enjoying this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to go to my URL, maxmymoney.org/rentyourroom. If you go there, you type in your email, and I will send you a bunch of resources. You will have a roommate advertisement, so you can advertise your room on Craigslist or Facebook or whatever you're using. I make it super easy. All you have to do is insert your information at the highlights, and this, I've realized, the more specific you are in the advertisement, the more specific person will call you, and that's usually a good deterrent towards those people we've been talking about, the red flaggers. Then I will also have 17 questions to ask when renting out your room. There's a sheet there. And then obviously the sample lease agreement, which pretty much is a template you can use when renting out the room. And then the roommate agreement, which is pretty much the house rules All very, very, very helpful things to have. So make sure to go maximum.org/rent your room, put your name, put your email, and all these resources will make it to you. Next question, do they have any significant other, family, friends nearby? If they do, then you have to set strict parameters on entertaining, because I've had 3 rooms rented out of my house at one time, and imagine if they had 3 significant others. That's 6 people in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, 1,000 square feet, 6 people. The math does not work out, so you have to really figure out if they have people nearby. But the good news is if they have family and friends, that means they may spend time outside of the house, visiting their mother, visiting their father, visiting friends, whoever it may be. So red flag number 4 is that they have no friends, no family, and no significant other, which I've rented to plenty of these fellas. And you know what they usually do? They sit at home all day and stew in their room. It's not good. It's much better if you can find people who are at least semi-social. Maybe an introverted person, which I like introverts. Introverts who go visit their mother. Introverts who go visit their friends and go hang out with them. You want to find that happy middle ground. You don't want someone who's sitting at home all day. Because when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, I had 3 people, plus me, so 4 people in a small house during COVID, the COVID pandemic. It was, let's just say, it's something I never want to go through again. So make sure they have friends and family and they're on the outside of the house on occasion. You don't want somebody sitting there in their room 24/7. Next question I would ask is, what is their daily schedule? If they are regimented, if they have a plan every single day, that is definitely a plus. And then do they coordinate well with your sleep schedule? See, I'm an early riser, and I go to bed usually before 9:30 p.m. Now, if someone works a shift at night or works a shift and they're up all night or whatever it may be, if the sleep schedule conflicts, and I've had the conflicting sleep schedule with a roommate, oh man, it makes life really, really unenjoyable. So ask them, do they have a typical schedule? If they do, that's good. If they don't have a schedule, that means it's a variable schedule. Who knows what's going to be happening? It's way better to get these things taken care of before the move-in. And then red flag number 5 is obviously if their schedule conflicts with yours, sleeping-wise, it makes for no fun for anybody if it's conflicting. So make sure you at least have the same schedule. The same schedule. If you can find someone, if you work a 9 to 5, they work a 9 to 5, that's great. That's probably most ideal. Now, if you have someone who's totally conflicting, I would definitely reconsider. All right, those are my red flags. Oh, man. Last one is if you find someone who's combative when you first meet them. That's my bonus one, because I found someone who was combative when I first met them. I was desperate to get the person in. Long story short, a few months into it, he wanted to fight one of the other roommates. It was a big mess to say the least. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.